All right, today we're going to go over how to fill out the community meeting notes. So starting up top, you'll put your community meeting or your community name in. Next, of course, the date. And typically these are going to be held once weekly. The sales professional and the field manager. All right, so some of these items we're not going to go over today because they are found in other trainings. For example, the sales goals and the actual sales. Those are going to be communicated to you with other reports, such as your business plan or your sales lognet, whatever the case may be. Followed by that, of course, you have your closing goals for the month, and that's going to be communicated to you as well. Actual closing goal or actual goals as well. The spec level needed, on the other hand, that's going to be a division decision from your division leadership. So I do recommend speaking with your division leadership about the number of specs that are held within your community. Number of specs needed. So if your community has a maximum number of 8 or 9 specs and you've got 8 in there currently, then you need one more for 9. The starts needed for the month, that's going to be pretty similar to how many specs you need. And then also your start schedule, that's going to be found on your pre-start report. Moving into the meat and potatoes here of this report. So when you're filling this out, you're going to pull up several different reports. Each one of these reports is found by pulling up Citrix and then logging into the RC translator. So I've already got this report pulled up. It's the open warranty report, and I generally specify about 30 days back. And I'll just show you what that report looks like, and then we'll jump into some of the other reports. Now, as you can see, all of the information that you really need to fill this report out is contained here on your warranty report. More importantly, though, after you fill out the name, the lot and block, and the date created, which the date created can be found right here. Okay, and then alongside that, you can see the age. Obviously, the older these get, the worse that is. So we want to try to control that as much as possible, and that's one of the reasons that we're communicating it every week at the meeting. And then the comments. Now, a couple different sets of comments. There's comments here, which is your description, but then also your comments. So what can go in there? Well, is the buyer pretty upset at this point? That's definitely important because we want to run towards that opportunity to improve the customer satisfaction level. Other things are, what is the current status on this? Have we addressed this? Have we tried to schedule it? Have we not been able to get in there because maybe the homeowner's been sick or on vacation or at work and we just can't make it work? What are some of the things that need to go in that comments? Just really think about that because you can come back and reflect on that the week following. So that's your warranty area. Next, we've got our Avid follow-up. Okay, this section here. Now, each division is going to have maybe a little bit different process in following up, at least currently, but you're going to fill this out. Same, business as usual. So name, when the field manager visited with the air filter, or if it's been done or not yet. Basket, so in Oklahoma City, we were given baskets out to people with little follow-up items and things of that nature, whether it's seasonal items like gloves for the garden or maybe a landscaping voucher or candles, something like that. But that's going to be delivered by the sales professional. The date of the survey, the comments, which we'll get into here in a second, survey taken. So was the survey taken or has it been taken quite yet? And I guess I'll go back to the survey date when the survey should arrive. And then the status. So is this person happy but has some concerns? Well, that would be yellow. Red, this is somebody that is obviously upset and not happy, and somebody that we need to get in touch with immediately. This is somebody that you need to communicate to your management team that, hey, there's a problem, and this is what we need to do to fix it. And that would typically be what goes in the comments here. Green is somebody that's still happy, but not to say that they'll stay that way. We want to make sure we're still following up with these folks as well. So how do we fill this out? Well, the easiest way to know who we need to visit with is to pull up your closing report. So again, in Citrix, you're going to pull up RC Translator. You're going to go to the closing, or the tab, the drop-down tab, and you're going to select closings. Now, I personally like to go back 30 days from today's date, and the reason for me is because I'm following up consistently, but sometimes people prefer to go back 45 days. That's definitely optional. But for this example, we're going to go back 30 days. Hit retrieve, and that's going to pull up your closing report. And of course, it's actually going to pull up all of your entire division. So you're going to want to go down to the community that you are doing the community meeting in. And of course, they're going to be spread out a little bit, but you can see here that it's got the name and the lot and block, the address, the sales professional's name, the date of closing. So really everything you need just to transfer over here. But again, the comments are the most important, because this is how we convey to everybody what is going on with this buyer. So you would just simply fill in the name and the rest of the items here. Moving on down. Okay, so home sold previous week or parking lot. So what this report basically indicates, and what this section is required for, is if you've just recently sold a home and have not yet specified the closing date, then that is going to be in what's called your parking lot. So instead of going over each of these sections here, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull up what's called an open contract summary. So the open contract summary is the report name that you need to fill this information out here. The open contract summary report is, of course, in Citrix inside the RC Translator. To pull that report up, you simply drop down, upper left-hand corner, and you come on over to the open contract summary. Now, you don't actually have to specify any dates. It's not going to change the information on the report, because it's more of a real-time report. It just takes a few seconds here to pull this report up. And as you can see, we've got a bunch of different information going here. So this area is specifically for the home sold previous week and the parking lot. So really, it's just the top portion of this report, which you can kind of see right here. So blank scheduled date, and then it stops right here over June, because June is going to be closings by month. This again is for information that is either somebody canceling, or a new contract, or they may be up there because they've not sold their home, and so we are waiting, or we are delaying the closing a little bit, or we're putting the home back on the market. There's a lot of different meanings behind this report, but the big thing is you can get all of the information and simply fill it out from this report. Fill your community meeting notes from this report. So the name is pretty obvious, but I'll just show you that real quick. So Rodriguez, the lot block plan elevation for the report is right over here. Okay, so you got 10 of 21, which is your lot and block. Okay, and then you got your model. So that's the name, for example, the Coleman, and then the elevation, C, or it could be B or D, and it could be a different name, and so on. And as you can see on the notes here, the stage. So coming back over here to your community meeting notes, the stage, so the stage of the home, stage of completion. So looking at our report here, you got stage right here. So 100% means, of course, that it's done. It's been QC'd and it's checked off and ready to go. 11 is, of course, in a percentage, so 11%. And of course, so on and so forth there. And you'll get more familiar as you get familiar with the business on what these stages represent in terms of the completion percentage. The completion date. So our anticipated completion right here. So up here, you kind of get a key that you can use for each of these items, but anticipated completion date. The lender. As an example, Red RM means Red Rock Mortgage, or this person here paid cash. So there's no lender required. Now, some of them will have a blank lender in them, so just a blank spot where the lender should go. That just means that, unfortunately, that sales professional may not have filled out that information when they did the contract. That being said, the information can be filled in and should be filled in afterwards. The sales professional, just going to be the last name here, so salesman, Guzman, Hale, Holly, Stewart, whatever the case may be. Okay, so the status. So this doesn't necessarily pop up on the report, but it's important to understand that the lender status is what's going on in the process. Is this a contract that they haven't met with the lender yet? So something that you could put in would be application with lender in person on June 15th or June 10th, whatever the case may be. Now, if they have met with the lender and it's in processing, well, just put it's in processing or in underwriting or cleared underwriting. So just kind of a status update on each home. Okay, so on the construction, your construction just means what is currently going on in that house. Is it at the electric rough, or is the slab going in? Are they doing a final grade? Are they doing final punches? Is the home ready for orientation? Just general information like that. Over here, though, you can see the month to close. And the month to close it's really going to be based off of this date here, the anticipated completion date. Just keep in mind that based upon the division that you're in, because it can be different, here, we like to have that within about 7 days. So 7-day window. It can be more, it can be less, but general rule of thumb here is 7 days. So when I'm looking at the anticipated completion, say for example, this one here. So that says July 19th, which in all reality means this home could potentially close in July. So that would be the month to close. Release or ratified, is it going to be canceled, or has it been accepted? Cancel, of course, would mean that they're going to cancel. Now this is different in every division as in terms of what is put on the report to indicate a cancellation, so I'm not going to go over that today, but it is part of this report. All right, moving down. So closings by month. Same report. So same exact report. Open contract summary is the name. Open contract summary. So this really is all of the same information as above. You are just simply going back over that, and you'll go over that week by week. Now, it's important to note that when you're doing your homeowner or your home buyer follow-up calls on a weekly basis, you're basically conveying the information here in these fields. Just giving your buyer an update. Hey, your file's still in processing, and the status of your completion or your home it's currently at drywall, or it's about to be painted next week. I'm excited for you guys. So just it's a talking point, but it's also very important that your field manager, your construction team, and construction management all stay on the same page. And this is really the best way to do that. Now, where this changes a little bit, once we're down into the month, is you see these side notes here, the little tabs off to the right. Well, these areas are just slightly different than the above. Oh, right up here. Okay. What these are going to be for is our scheduling. So if you are scheduled to do your pre-construction meeting, if it's a brand new build and you have that scheduled on 6:30, June 30th, then obviously you'd want to put that in there. Or a simple yes or no. Is the pre-construction scheduled for June 30th? If it is, you haven't had your drywall meeting. So you'd want to schedule those as needed. Now, closer to the date of completion, this is also kind of a checklist here. You want to make sure that the buyers have all checked off on these. So every one of these boxes should have either a date that it was done or a yes. Moving on down. Okay, so a couple boxes pop up here at the bottom. The spec report, it can take up to 5 minutes to pull that report up. So I think I go over a spec report in another video. So just kind of use your knowledge there. And of course, the status just basically means that just like on the open contract report, and when you're going down your closings by month, you want to know, is that spec home at framing right now? Is it about to get the roof? Are shingles going on today? Is it at drywall? Is it at paint? Is it at texture? Whatever the case may be. And you just want to put a status update. The QC date, if the home is complete or getting close, you want to make sure that your QC team has walked through that home. Going over here to the change orders. This is important, and there are several different ways that you can find the information in regard to change orders. So, change orders. Let's start with the unaccepted change orders. So you're going to pull up a report called Change Orders Unaccepted. So again, in Citrix, you're going to pull up the RC Translator, and you're going to pull up the Change Orders Unaccepted. Just right here. Now this report can take a little while to pull up as well, so while that's loading, I'm going to come back over here. You're basically going to take the information provided on each one of these reports and put it, enter the information here. So the name, it's the buyer's name. It's pretty straightforward. The lot and block. So again, lot and block of that particular address. The description. So what is the description of the change order? So what is a change order? Well, a change order is when you submit for what is called a custom option request, or better known as just a change in general to the home. So if you've got a spec that's 100% complete and the buyer comes along and they want to add a fence, well, you need to submit a custom option request because you can't go in the system in IHMS and make that change manually. What we're going to do in this kind of situation is we're going to submit to our purchasing department to have an estimate created for a fence. And once you get the estimate back, once they get that request, it's going to wind up on one of these reports, which we'll go over. So either the change order unaccepted, the change order accepted, custom option open status report, and one other. So ratified just means, was this change order ratified? Was it accepted? Did it get estimated? And when it got estimated, did the sales professional have their buyer sign it? So everybody agreed. Once that happened, did the sales professional send that change order or that selection addendum over to the closing coordinator or the member of management team that accepts these items? And that might be a little bit different per division, but either way, it has to be accepted and ratified. So once it's accepted and ratified, it kind of goes through some other processes, but that's the importance of accepting these, going over these change orders every week, is there are a lot of working parts to them. So the report should be loaded here. Yep. So change orders unaccepted report. These are all change orders or request for an estimate that have not been accepted. And so that means they are still kind of in the abyss, just waiting to be viewed either by the purchasing department or approved by management. The cases may vary a little bit, but we want to make sure as sales professionals that we are staying on top of these until they are off this report. Now, as you can see, as I was stating earlier, you've got your lot and block on each one of these. That is very easy to locate. You've got your buyer name. You got the age. So how long has it been sitting on this report? 10 days, 12 days. That's a very, very, very long time. So we need to make sure that we're getting those off. The community manager. So who the sales professional was that entered that information or submitted for the request. The ratification date. Has it been ratified yet? All right, moving on. Change orders unaccepted becomes change orders accepted next. Change my date here. Takes just a moment to pull this up too. So no records match. That's a good sign. So there's nothing on this report, even though it took forever to pull up. So the next report, here we go, is the custom option not estimated. And you're just going to pull that up as well. And then, of course, it gives you some information here. So these are items that have not been estimated yet. So these more than likely were very recently submitted, if you notice that. The submission date is typically recently. You're going to notice this report starts to fill up on the weekends more than anything else because our back office team, your support team, is not quite here yet. So that's where this is coming from. Actually, these are all weekends. Today is Sunday, and so you notice that these were submitted maybe after hours here after 5 o'clock when everybody left, and then of course today, and then yesterday, so Saturday. All right, so not estimated, and the last one here that you can take a glance at. The most important of these being the change orders unaccepted report, but is your custom option open status report. So you can kind of see anything that's open on a customer account right now. These are all going to be additions to a home, so just make sure you're hitting that report as well. Typically, it's going to have the most important piece is that it's going to have the expiration date of a particular item that was requested. And so you want to make sure that you're getting everything accepted on that file before it expires, as far as like either, fence or adding blinds, something like that. Okay, so that's it on your change orders. And again, very important piece of the community meeting, and that's the way that you fill that out. For more details, definitely get with your management team, but also you can see the video where we go into a few of those details as well. So these are going to be where you are submitting your specs, these line items right here. Not going to go too deep into those because the spec report does take a long time to pull up, and so for video training purposes, just refer to the spec report overview. But these are going to be basically items that need to be created as specs. So you're just managing your inventory here and making sure everybody's on the same page. Now in Oklahoma City, we just communicate that on Mondays, and they have 24 hours to get it back to the office. So we typically wouldn't use this area as much. Now this is very useful for other divisions, so please get with your division management on how to proceed in this area. The model, to do, and checklist. There's no report here, but basically this is you walking your model, and taking notes of items that may need to be improved. If you have paint issues, or if you have flooring issues, if you need to have somebody come out and update the landscaping, just items that are on your to-do list for the model home. Your community to-do list is basically the same thing. You're walking and managing your community. So do you have fence panels down on common areas? Do common areas look good? Are the streets clean? Does everything as far as community appearance look good? Does your community feel good? Does anything need to be improved? So really just some great talking points, but that kind of wraps up the community meeting notes and how to fill them in. Again, for further information, please refer to the community meeting video, where you actually see one of our teams go over the community meeting in person with the construction manager, the field manager, and the sales professional. That about wraps it up. Thanks.